In the current standoff between Israel and Iran, we are witnessing a striking imbalance of power. By all physical measures, Iran is a regional superpower, while Israel appears to be a small state surrounded by hostile neighbors. The numbers paint a picture of the Persian power's overwhelming superiority. Let's look at the numbers. Iran's territorial advantage is truly colossal. Iran covers 1,745,000 square kilometers. It is the 18th largest country in the world, with a territory twice the size of Turkey and 3 times the size of France. Israel, on the other hand, occupies only 21,937 square kilometers, which is a mere 1% of Iran's area. This means that Iran is 75 times larger than Israel. You can drive across Israel from north to south in 7 hours, and walk from west to east at its narrowest point in a single day. Iran's vast territory gives it strategic depth, the ability to disperse military facilities, and natural protection, while all of Israel's critical sites are within reach from its borders. Iran has a population of 90.5 million people, whereas Israel's population is 9 million. This tenfold advantage gives Iran enormous mobilization potential and the ability to sustain significant losses. But Iran's most impressive advantage lies in its energy resources. Iran is one of the world's leading energy powers. In terms of oil, Iran has 157.5 billion barrels of proven reserves, ranking 4th in the world. That's 24% of the Middle East's oil reserves. At the current rate of consumption, these reserves would last for 239 years. The situation with natural gas is even more impressive. 1,201 trillion cubic feet of reserves puts Iran in 2nd place in the world, right after Russia. Iran controls nearly 18% of the world's natural gas reserves. The South Pars field alone contains 20% of the world's known gas reserves. Israel, on the other hand, has just a little over 1 billion cubic meters of natural gas. That's more than 1,000 times less than Iran. Israel produces a minimal amount of oil and relies on energy imports. Iran's geography creates a powerful system of natural defense. To the west and north, the country is surrounded by towering mountain ranges with peaks over 5,000 meters high. In the center are vast deserts, barriers that make ground operations nearly impossible. The diverse climate, from snow-covered mountains to scorching deserts, complicates military planning. Meanwhile, Israel is confined to a narrow strip of land with no strategic depth or natural barriers. Although Israel has the Galilee Mountains and the Judean Hills, they are nowhere near the scale of Iran's mountain systems. Until recently, Iran also had an extensive network of allies. Hezbollah in Lebanon was the strongest non-state army. Hamas controlled an entire enclave in Gaza. The Houthis operated in Yemen. Shia militias spread across Iraq and Syria. The Assad regime in Syria was a key ally. This network created the famous Ring of Fire around Israel. However, these days the situation has changed dramatically. With God's help, many proxies have been weakened or eliminated. Hamas has suffered catastrophic losses in Gaza. Hezbollah is seriously weakened. The Assad regime has fallen, and the Houthis are isolated. The Ring of Fire has turned into smoldering embers. Israel, on the other hand, remains relatively isolated, surrounded by hostile neighbors, with a limited number of allies in the region and dependent on support from distant Western partners. And now we come to the main paradox. Despite Iran's overwhelming superiority, in territory 75 times larger, a population 10 times greater, energy resources thousands of times more abundant, geographic advantages, and until recently a powerful network of allies, it is Israel that demonstrates remarkable effectiveness in this confrontation. How can this phenomenon be explained? The answer lies not in the material realm, but in the spiritual dimension. In the second weekly Torah portion, which was read during the week when the war with Iran began, we find a key to understanding this paradox in the book of the prophet Zechariah. The prophet says to Zerubbabel, who is rebuilding the temple after the Babylonian exile, "Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord." These words, spoken more than 2,500 years ago, explain the modern phenomenon better than any military analysis. The history of the Jewish people is full of examples of how a small, outnumbered force defeated mighty empires, not by the amount of weapons or the size of their territory, but by their unbreakable spirit, unity of purpose, and faithfulness to their destiny, which drew divine assistance. And it is written in Tehillim, "A horse is a false hope for salvation, and by its great strength it cannot rescue. Behold, the eye of the Lord is on those who fear him, on those who hope for his mercy." In the end, what matters most is not how many square kilometers you have or how many barrels of oil, but how devoted your people are to their ideals and how ready they are to defend them. The Spirit is capable of overcoming any material limitations. And the current war between Israel and Iran is a vivid confirmation of this eternal truth.